Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yo, what up, what up? It's your boy Rubino.
And this DJ in the building.
And you listening to the UpNUp Podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know, just listen.
Yes. Welcome.
What's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the UpNUp Podcast. I'm your host, Rubino.
And I'm DJ man.
DJ how you doing, man?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good, yeah.
You feeling good?
Ready.
You stayed in town this past weekend. For the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
You good?
So it's cool, you know.
All right, man.
You got to do that sometimes.
Yeah, man. I'm feeling good, man. Today's Lakers Media Day. You know.
I seen that.
We're on the same team now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
We'll get used to it. We'll get used to it. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning into the UpNUp Podcast, hence the name UpNUp. This is a platform created to cultivate the culture. Again, we share amazing stories of individuals who are grinding, going after it, letting nothing stop them and staying on the up and up, right?
Of course.
I do want to shout out all the consistent listeners, the supporters, the viewers. We thank you. We love you guys for the constant push. If you can, make sure to rate, subscribe, and review to all our episodes.
And like it.
You
forgetting that.
Yeah, hit that like button. You can listen to them on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Just type in the UpNUp Podcast, and that's where you can find them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, getting that out the way, you already know. You already know. We always bring the guests. I mean, if you're a consistent listener, you already know we always bring a guest with a compelling story, something that's going to drive you, something that's going to inspire you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And keep you on the up and up. Today's guest, I would say is a man whose passion for health and wellness has allowed him to impact lives of many, through fitness. I would say, he's a true hustler who's keeping everything he's doing on the up and up, right? Obviously, otherwise he wouldn't be in the building with us today.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the perfect example of what it means to get it out the mud, right?
Yeah,
I like that. I like that term. You know what I'm saying? Get it out the mud. And he is the owner of. He's the owner and founder of Athletic Form Sports Performance Fitness Facility. Our guest is none other than the fitness guru and boss man himself, Robel Woldu. Can we get a round of applause for my brother?
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. I feel like the man. I'm at the up and up.
Yes, sir.
Two of my favorites, man.
Hey, man.
Rob, man, you guys are doing some great stuff, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Hey, man, we're happy to have you, man. I ain't gonna lie, you can ask the homie. I was doing some push-ups before you came in here, man. For real, I was like, man, I'm in a fitness mode right now.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
We got to do that more often.
Yes, sir, man. For sure, man. I don't do it enough, so hopefully this will inspire me. But
no doubt.
So yeah, if you're not familiar with the show, we usually start our episodes off with the quote of the day. Just something to get the vibe right, get our minds right. My guy across the way here, he's a man of words.
Mm-hmm.
What you got for us today, man? The people want it.
All right, the quote of the day today: take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live.
Who's that by?
Jim Rohn.
Who's that? I don't know who Jim Rohn is.
Jim Rome or Jim Ron?
Ron.
I
know Jim Rome, but I don't know.
Jim Rome.
I don't know who that is either.
Yeah, regardless of who he is.
I'm going to look him up after this.
Yeah, that's a dope quote.
No doubt.
So say that again one more time. So
take care of your body because it's the only place you have to live.
Okay. Now, we always obviously start the quotes to get the vibe right, but we also want to pull a quote that ties directly to, your story and kind of what you're about. And so with everything you're doing with Athletic Form, we definitely want to jump into that. But what we like to do is really give people that transparent, candid look at who it is we're dealing with. And so for you, Robel, where did it kind of start for you? Where did you grow up and kind of how was that upbringing for you?
Man, I was born and spent some of my adolescence in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. When I turned 12, my dad got a good opportunity, and we pivoted to Seattle, Washington. Mm-hmm. Went to high school at Edmonds Woodway.
Hey, shout out.
North End, right?
Yeah, we got some warriors in the building. So.
No doubt, man. And did high school there. Post high school, went to a junior college in California. Played football out there. Got my grades up. Got another opportunity, man, to go play some big college football at the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
And then from there, man, was an undrafted free agent. Spent some time just playing professional football, man, and it was a grind, man.
Yeah.
You know, it never ends, and
Yeah.
so I had my fair share of opportunities, and then in late 2013, man, I hung up my cleats, and the rest is history, man.
Right.
I was able to kind of continue to pivot, and that was the birth of Athletic Forum. So
Okay. Well, I
Good.
do want to
Good.
kind of jump back to the early beginnings, right?
yeah,
You know, football is one of them sports, man. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it for real,
absolutely.
right? And so for you growing up, like, what was that? You know, what was that moment for you when you were like, "This is my sport"? You know, everybody either wants to go the hoop route or the football route, or probably both. But what was it about football that kind of, you know, I guess drew you in?
You know what's crazy, man, is my entire life was full of adversity. So I got to high school, and I got cut 2 times. My freshman and sophomore year from basketball. Basketball was my passion. My junior year, I made the team. Not only did I make the team, I made the varsity squad.
Okay.
And so I played basketball. Still didn't play football, which is crazy, as a junior. I
Damn.
came back my senior year to try out. Coach and I didn't see eye to eye, and I got cut. Didn't make it my senior year. Football coach was like, you know what, man? You need to try out and play some football as a senior. All right?
Damn.
As a senior in high school, I'm out there, and I don't know what to do. When I tell you everything about being African, man, it was like I was a foreigner to this American sport. But I stuck with it, man, and you know, spring football was great. Summer football was great. My first official game was in September. We played Linwood High School. When I got 2 interceptions, 1 catch for a touchdown, 1 punt return for a touchdown,
Damn.
and I never looked back.
It's all in one game.
That's crazy.
First game.
Wow.
First official game on record. And
That's how you start right there.
yeah, man, and I was like, man, forget basketball.
Yeah.
You know, and so from there I
Yeah.
just kept, you know, going after it, man, and again, man, my grades weren't always great. I didn't take school too serious in high school, and I'm just fortunate, man, that it clicked sooner than later. So JUCO wasn't a part of the plan, but it had to be a part of the plan because you know, no Division 1, 2, 3 or NAIA was going to take me based on my transcript. So went to the College of the Redwoods, got my grades up, played multiple positions there, and then, you know, from there, man, I got a second chance at collegiate football, got a full ride to the University of Minnesota, and then, man, it was crazy, man. Football. I thought that's what I was gonna do for the rest of my life, man.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like every other draftee, I thought I'd hear my name. I truly believed that I was going to hear my name, and I didn't. But Will McClay, he was the head of the scouting department for the Dallas Cowboys. He gave me a phone call, or he actually gave my agent a phone call, and he said, hey, you know what? We want you to come down, and we want you to test, man. We want to test you. We want to bring you into training camp. I went out there. I was there for a couple weeks. And I just wasn't able to take in that information as quick as they'd like for me to do. And I was cut. And then I went to New Orleans, man, and played for the New Orleans Voodoo, which is the arena football team.
Okay.
And then brought it back to Spokane with the Shock in early 2013. And then from there, man, I was like, you know, I've seen it all. This is obviously going to take care of any sort of regret I may have had if I didn't pursue it,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
it made the decision that much easier for me when I said, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to move on. And, and then, yeah, man.
It sounded like it was just a natural progression at that point.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely that's the reason why I wanted to give people more kind of insight on that process, right? Because some people, they might think, they don't know. You know, they don't know. They think some people try sports, and then if it doesn't work out, then it's just like, but the thing about it is, everything you went through going through that process only made you stronger to be able to go into another avenue, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, my parents are immigrants, you know?
Yeah.
They migrated to America from Eritrea in 1983. after they fulfilled their military obligations, and it wasn't like they fled their country. You know, it was accepted, and they came to America, and they worked multiple jobs. My mom put herself through school. My dad did the same. My mom has her own business. My dad is the lead nutritionist at a Swedish hospital.
Okay.
And you know, so the bar was set. There was no excuses. There's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
It's all rolling up the sleeves and working extremely hard for what you want in life. So.
No, definitely.
Yeah, it's dope. So moving forward, how would you explain athletic form? Like, what is it in its mission?
Yeah, man. It's community driven. You know, and you know, when I first started, I was like, I'm gonna work with all the best football players in America, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and then it turned into I'm working with some of the most elite NBA basketball players, and I'm gonna do that, and then it was like common people that go through everyday struggles, single parent moms, successful Fortune 500 entrepreneurs that hold high ranking positions in business, and that was what captivated me, man. To see somebody come in at their lowest of lowest, fast forward 6 months later, they're a completely different person physically, mentally, was infectious. I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so, again, in a nutshell, man, athletic form is community. You know, we just happen to do it through fitness and through movement. So, yeah.
No, and so the reason I think it's important is because I do want to tap into that transition from being a full-time athlete to now a businessman, right? And this is something we could touch on as well later on in the show, but because I see it now, right? I see these athletes coming up in the NFL currently. You see what's going on in the climate of the NFL, and it seems as though a lot of these athletes are pigeonholed because honestly they don't see anything outside of football, right? So for you jumping into, you know, the venture of athletic form, I'm sure there was probably some trying times starting out the gate. And so talk a little bit about that, because I mean, I was there. I mean, I remember being there when you first started out at Cal Anderson, and you know, I feel like everybody that was there believed in the mission, right? But again, being an entrepreneur, you kind of sometimes harbor feelings, and maybe, you know, you never really know what things may look like down the line. So what was that mindset for you when you first started it? Like what were some signs of you letting you know, okay, this is actually going somewhere? You
know, what's crazy is, man, when I started in the Parks and Recreation at Kyle Anderson Park in Capitol Hill, I knew it was a hit when it was snowing outside. There was 25 people outside. I knew it was a hit when I invested $4,000 in a 1998 Toyota Camry and another $6,000 in equipment, and I brought the gym outside, and people gravitated towards it, you know. And so I knew that then, and those were some of the most fondest moments of my life.
Yeah.
And, you know, even before I got in here, man, I just pulled up the Mac, and I was just kind of looking back at all those photos, man, and it just was like, wow, man.
Yeah.
I seen, you know, B, I seen you, seen I think once. no shade, you know. No shade, but
I was like, damn, he right. Only one time.
Yeah, it might have been on a Saturday morning too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just knew I had something, and I made the decision, man, to open up a brick and mortar, you know, business, and opened up my first shop in, you know, downtown Seattle, 16,000 square feet space, over 120 yards of speed turf.
Talk about it.
You know, and
paint the picture.
Yeah, man. And you know what's crazy is the first 16 months of our business, we didn't even have restrooms because we were held back by permits, you know. And that's one thing I want people that are listening, that are watching, to understand is it's cool to be an entrepreneur. It's cool to be ambitious. But you also got to get your ducks in a row. You got to understand business and all the different things that come with that, man. And I didn't know that. You know, I didn't expect my dad to educate me on that, because my dad was just like me. He's just trying to provide for his family. The same for my mother. And, you know, it was just one of those things where understanding permits, the P&L, profit versus loss.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just always making sure your bills are paid.
Yeah.
You know, you're making decisions, and you know it looks cool. You know, but the reality is there's many months that went by that I wasn't able to pay myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I had to take care of my employees, my staff. Make sure there's toilet paper in the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, little things like that.
Important,
you know? So,
yeah.
But it was cool, man, because I was able to take an interesting blend of the 20th century business model, but also, you know, with the 21st century, right? Because the brick and mortar is definitely like a 20th century kind of model. The 21st century was our subscription-based model, right, where we have reoccurring revenue that comes in month in and month out. Just automatically happens, right? And so that was very helpful for our business. And you know, when the first of any month was to come around, we see what's in the account, you know, and now we're able to build our SKUs now, right? Okay, we want to increase our business by 30%.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to do that, right? So we made $21,000 this month. How do we get to $27,000 this month, right? And so you add cool things like hot yoga. We built out a beautiful hot yoga space upstairs.
Man,
that thing
it looks amazing, man.
It
looks great, man.
It's great.
And and I remember the grand opening when we pulled up. It was just like, man, seeing, and it trips me out, but I'm pretty sure it trips you out even more, right? Just to see how an idea that was in your head, and you put it out, put it on a piece of paper, and then just let it formulate, let it come to fruition, and seeing it look like that, it's amazing, man. And you touched on something as far as going into the business side as someone who's probably new into business or entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And you have a history of playing sports as well. And I always have this question for athletes who go into business is the pressure of being an athlete and playing versus the pressure of being a trainer and training, right? Because I feel like being an athlete and playing, you know, it's just on you at the end of the day, making sure you do your job, making sure you're contributing what you can to the team's success. But being a trainer is a whole different type of pressure, I would assume, right? Where you have another athlete's career, so to speak, in your hands, and they trust you with that. So how would you compare the two? Is one more pressure? Does one see more pressure than the other, or how does that feel? How does that look for you?
No, I think sports prepared me to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
You know, I take science and all of my credentials and certifications as a performance specialist, as a personal trainer, just as serious as preparing for a game on Sunday. So, you know, anytime you're taking an athlete, you know, you do your homework, you go through their injury list if they've got one, you figure out an effective plan, and then sometimes it doesn't hurt to get another set of eyes or two to kind of look through the programming. But, you know, I take my profession extremely serious, and it's very reflective of my playing days as well. Man, so.
And I just see that because I always wondered that, man, like, you know, having someone trust you is a big thing, you know, with their livelihood in a sense. You know, so that's a big thing. But I mean,
I think it's harder though, post football, finding out what's next more than anything else. Right? Because that was my biggest fear. It was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? This is all I've ever done.
This was the plan.
And now it's like, I gotta be you know, so to speak, a regular person. You know, I gotta potentially have to wear a tie, have to clock in at 9 a.m., clock out at 5 p.m., and it just all hit me like a ton of bricks, man. But it was, you know, I think my parents being there for me and a core group of friends that continued to keep me inspired and to kept my mind elevated, man. So, man, I was able to get through it, and you know.
So
that's crazy. I think that's important too, because I mean, even when I was in high school, I was like, I'm trying to go to the NBA, you know. And then it's like your last game, you're like, damn, it's already here. Like you're like, damn, what am I gonna do next? You know. So I feel you on that though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think, man, and you know, we touched a lot about kind of the business and everything that went into it. But at the same time, you know, we're all human, right? We all have other things to balance us out. So what are some things Robel kind of uses to take his mind off athletic form, which I'm sure is probably hard, but like, I know everybody needs some me time. What do you usually do, man?
Yeah, man, I hang out with my little guy Duke, man. It's not a child. It's not a child. It's an English bulldog.
Shout out Duke. Duke's in the building right now.
He's you know, we hang out a lot, man. What else? Man, just doing regular stuff, man. I like fashion.
Okay. Getting fresh.
I like hanging with my friends. You know, just kind of being a homebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like, you know,
You cut the nightlife out?
A little bit,
Okay,
man.
okay.
You know, it's not a bad thing when I say like Netflix and chill, man. I just want to chill and hang out, man, and vibe out and kind of like just allow my mind to just decompress, you know?
Yeah.
So, just homebody, I think is like homebody and hanging out with Duke and then food. I love food.
Okay.
Man, so.
Okay.
I feel you.
Okay.
I feel you. Also, I mean, we were talking about the grand opening that we went to, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I took a lot of it in. It was pretty inspiring. So,
Wow.
Was there like a certain strategy you had when you're designing the thing? Like when you're like, okay, I'm gonna put this here.
Yeah.
And make sure the hot yoga stuff is upstairs.
Yeah.
Was there like?
It's all trial and error.
Talk about it, man.
If we're talking about the current structure of the business, man, from an aesthetic, it was all like, oh, this part right here is already there, so we're gonna keep that there.
Mm-hmm.
But we got this whole other 4,000 square foot space. What do we do? I was like, I need the biggest office so that I can have these meetings that are pointless. You know what I mean? And then it was like, you know, I've got a great team, and they're like, we can have offices, or we can take that whole upstairs area and make it a yoga space.
Yeah.
Right? And the bathrooms, we'll make them as small as possible, but fit as many showers and toilets in both the
Being
men's
efficient.
and women.
Being efficient with
So,
it. Yeah.
you know, we were able to, you know, curate a really cool lounge experience too, man.
Yeah.
A lot of green plants.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our apparel line through Zan Robe, man. Shout out to Zan Robe that is getting ready to hit Athletic Forum in the next week or so,
Okay,
man. And
Shout out to them.
in collaboration. And yeah, man, it was just like a group effort, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And none of it was like etched in stone per se. It was one of those things where it was like the day of, contractors are there and they're like, what are you gonna do? I'll be like, you know what? We're looking to put 30 to 40 people upstairs. All right, we're gonna have to make it this. We're gonna have to make sure that being upstairs is gonna be able to
hold that
capacity, right?
Yeah.
And so they did that, and then the rest is history, man. You lay the wood, you install the infrared panels, and then you know everything else, man. Tiles in the restroom.
He's on that home improvement.
Absolutely,
right
man.
Falls together.
Bob Vila, right? Is it Bob Vila?
I was thinking Tim Allen.
Tim Allen.
All right, man. So now you touched on it a little bit. You said collaboration, right? And that's a word that stuck out to me because obviously, you know, you're not going to come off as one who thinks everything's done on your own, right?
Yeah.
And I know you got a really, really great team with you. So talk a little bit about that. Speak about the importance of having a team in place when you're building a vision, right? Because sometimes it starts out as your vision, and you might get too caught up in keeping it just your vision and not allowing other people in. So how was it for you to allow other people in to help you? Talk a little bit about that.
For starters, for me, I had to play my part.
Okay.
Know what my strengths were, and then understand my weaknesses, and not actually run away from them, but find people that are capable, and those are actually their strong points, right?
Yeah.
And take that education, you know, that educational understanding from them, so that you can kind of perfect your craft. You know, but it's important, man, to know your role and play that part, and never try to do something that you're not great at, man. Just stick to what you know, and allow those people to flourish just as much as you flourish in that specific area that you're really great at, right? So Zach, you know, he's somebody that I brought on, man. He's a marketing guru, man. He's tech savvy. He built out our website. He's got, you know, over 16 years of experience in the tech industry, man. Phil, man, he's my lead trainer, man, and he actually went to WSU as well.
Hey, shout out to Phil.
Cougars.
He's
Shout out to
great,
Phil.
man. And Ryan and Tana, they're both great individuals. They're trainers as well.
Okay.
And then we've got, you know, some amazing yoga instructors, man. We got Anna, Linnea, Rosie, Biala. Who else, man?
You don't want to leave nobody
Casey. Just the whole Athletic Forum yoga group, man, that stay empowered and owning that and making it their own. And you know, man, it's like I don't want people to come in and be like, boss this, boss that. No, man, let's just all be common people with a common goal, and
That's real.
and let's execute, man, because that's That's what I'm most concerned about.
It's
man,
get the job done.
Yeah, man. And so that's kind of like my perspective on that for sure.
Having that like healthy environment.
Yeah,
where
balance.
Yeah,
balance,
exactly.
Man. And so, again, like I said, man, my team, I wouldn't trade them for anybody or any department, man. Those guys, those girls, man, they're incredible, and they're really great at what they do. So,
and I'm sure they taught you a lot along the way.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about, man. Like, because I hear people all the time wanting to, go into their own ventures, right?
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with one girl I know who's trying to step out and do her own thing, and she was super hesitant to bring other people in, right? And I was telling her, I was like, man, you really need to explore the options of putting people on, because that's how I see it. I see it as like you're giving someone an opportunity, right? Now, obviously, they got to come to work, right? They got to make sure they're putting in the work. But if you see that there's potential there, why not? Why not give them a platform to get better at what they're doing, which is what I see you doing now.
Why not?
Why not?
What's the worst that can come from it? It didn't work.
Yeah.
And then it's your job to I don't believe in firing, but I've done it in my past and I don't feel great about it. But worst case, man, it doesn't work and you guys part ways.
Yeah, but they learn.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure they're going to learn from the experience, and you're going to learn from that experience at the same time.
Everybody does.
Everybody learns.
Absolutely.
Now, we were talking about collaboration. We're talking about your team and whatnot, and it kind of took me back a bit because before the show we were talking about how you were our second ever interview we ever did in this radio thing back way back Wazoo. Shout out KUGR Radio. So it's funny because I was listening to that episode that we did back then. I think it was like 2015.
Wow.
And I had pulled a clip from the episode, right? And I want you to listen to it because there's a lot of parallels that we can be drawn from back then to now. So let's take a listen to that and let's hear about what was on your mind back then.
It can't rain for too long. It's impossible. The sun's got to break at some point. So for me, man, athletic form just started to develop, and people like yourself, Rob, they truly believed in what it was, and for them it was second nature to just kind of talk about it. It wasn't like it was just a thing to do because it left an impact on the individual. So now I'm a huge believer in a grassroots approach, shaking everybody's hand and looking them in the eye and telling them that I truly thank you. And people embrace that. And, it came from a special place. And it's probably the greatest thing to happen for me and my family, friends, loved ones, so on and so forth, man. So, we're always growing, we're always developing, man. And, now we're just kind of transitioning into partnerships, developing relationships with other companies, man, and building bridges, man. Not necessarily looking to burn any bridges. So
definitely,
that's what we're working on now.
Wow.
Takes you back a little bit, right?
It gave me chills, man.
Yeah, right?
I need that clip. If I start a rap album, I'm gonna play that.
That's the intro. We just got the intro. We got the intro for Robel's mixtape coming soon.
What's crazy, man, is that interview happened at like pivotal moments, I think, in both of our businesses, man, and to kind of like meet at like where we're at now is like it's crazy, man, because the message has never changed, man. I think if anything, it's been magnified. And so like when I heard something like grassroots and I see the hand and I see the roots coming from the hands with the UpNUp sign and logo and just like what's going on with athletic form, man, it just goes to show, man, that you speak these things into existence over and over and over, and continue to wake up every single morning with that mindset. Like things like this happen. 16,000 square feet spaces come from that.
That's real.
Dope studios like the UpNUp come from that. So
talk about it.
I think it's important, man, to speak these things to existence, but also make sure you got the right people around you that aren't going to discourage you, man.
That's real.
So that was definitely something that took me back to a phone interview, man, and again, like I said, man, they just gave me chills, man. So
Yeah.
that's deep. Thank you.
No, man. Thank you, because I bring it up because I always want to see the evolution, right? Because a lot of times some people start something and the vision they may have had when they first started may sometimes alter or change as they continue to grow and elevate and get more successful and, you know, start taking on a lot more weight, right? Yeah. And I brought this clip up specifically because it really speaks to the consistency that you've been able to hold, you know, and stay true to the vision and the mission that you've had this whole time, right? Starting off this interview, you talked about community, right? And going back to that clip, again, it was about that same topic, community. And so, yeah, man, you know, that kind of took me back.
Yeah, it took me back too. I was like, damn.
That was dope. That was dope. Now it's crazy because I remember when you first started, you know, working out athletes. It wasn't just adults. You were also working out young athletes.
Yeah.
You were working out the youth. I seen you working with a lot of high school prospects and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Now, my question for you is, and this is something, you know, we could talk about too. I always feel like there should be a strong emphasis on young athletes, right? And not just from a playing perspective or the sport, but more so just mentally, right? Because you talked about it yourself. When I got done playing football, I didn't really know what was next. So do you kind of take some time out of your training to also coach these kids up in terms of how to be more than just an athlete?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to tell kids all the time, man, that it's cool to be an entrepreneur. It's cool to be somebody that works in tech.
Yeah.
It's cool to you know, put on a suit and tie and be a lawyer or a doctor. You know, your life doesn't have to be dictated by games on Sundays, man, and NBA finals and all that other. I mean, it's great, it's cool, man, but also that has an expiration date.
That's real.
You know, and you know, that is cool. But again, like I said, man, that is my message, man. I tell guys all the time, go to school and be a student athlete. And get that education. You know, because you know how many guys are fighting for that same position, right? And so, like, you know, I think I've been reluctant to have guys more than anything get that opportunity to play in the National Football League. You know, so like when I look at a lot of the guys, man, Azim Victor, Keyshawn Kabaria, Kevin King, Sidney Jones, those guys all play in the NFL, and they were all drafted very high. Dwayne Washington, you know, it's. You know, it's remarkable, you know, but I also, you know, when they come back every day, you know, when they come back in the off season, I see their wheels spinning and they're like, you know what? As an entrepreneur, man, how did you do it? Yeah. You know, how can I get involved? You know, Quentin Jefferson, he plays for the Seahawks, man. That's like family. You know, I train him, he's my client. Yeah. And he's an even greater human. And you know, and so like
talk about it.
You know, it's like, you know, he's always curious about, like, you know, what does it take? You know, and you know, no one really knows how much money, how much sweat equity is put forth into like owning a business or running a business, man. Like if I told people how much I've invested in athletic form up to this point, you guys have been like, yo, I would have moved to like Brazil and bought 3 homes and you know, but that's what is laying it all on the line. That's what laying it on the line looks like. That's real. Is giving everything that you have and not being blinded by like the cool shoes, that you know, cute girl, renting out a lavish condo and staying tunnel vision, man, and being like, you know what? I'm gonna wear the same clothes multiple days. I'm gonna make sure that I have a savings. I'm gonna make sure that I put forth money and allocate those things to other things like stocks and bonds, and those things work while I'm asleep. You know, and now I've been able to like take more and more of my money and put them in towards property, right? And now friends that I have are, you know, moguls and tycoons that own hundreds of properties like Thatch Wynn, you know, and he's taught me how to, like, although you're an entrepreneur, be an entrepreneur full time. So now let's buy 3 homes. You know, let's figure out how we can. And that same information that I give to those guys. Circling back, I give that information to my athletes, man. And guys also are like, man, what would it cost to get some equity stake, man, in the business?
Yeah,
I'm like, we could talk, baby, we could talk. The price just went up, but we could talk.
They're like, man, I mean, you've already done a lot of the work, Robel, so let me just go ahead and throw you some dollars.
It's flattering, man, because I think that's where the respect is actually is formulated, man, is knowing that although we're not both professional athletes, the trail that we all went on, the same path, and was similar, like lonely nights, losses of games, some wins, but we're in pivotal moments in our lives where we can kind of quantify that to be successful, right? So it's infectious.
It's all perspective based too.
Yeah,
it's how you see things.
Absolutely.
I think that's important because it's like, sticking with it. It's like that patience, that dedication you had towards sticking to your your dreams or whatever. It all came back full circle because all the stuff that you could have chased earlier just ended up coming back. Like you said, buying properties and all that. So I think that's respect, bro. That's dope. Yeah.
One thing that I just because it just popped in my head, and I do this often, man, is I speak from my heart. One thing that I've been practicing, man, is emotional recovery. I was just fortunate enough to go and spend about 4 days in Santa Monica with the Lululemon men, and that's what they're kicking off, man, is emotional recovery. So like when I was thinking about it, I thought it was like meditation and prayer, and when I got there, it was something completely different, and what I gained from that was a better understanding of vulnerability, starting to discuss what the bro code is, right? Masculinity, right? And how do we desensitize ourselves from thinking like that? And if I because I'm getting to a place where now I'm gonna thinking about having kids. I want my son or my daughters to be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable.
Be real.
Like if I've got a son, masculinity is whatever you make it. You don't have to be the tough guy. The bro code, I encourage everybody here to hold all of their friends and family to a higher expectation. If you see somebody do something multiple times, he probably shouldn't be your friend.
That's real.
Because you're being fake to yourself. Allowing that to happen, you're being phony to yourself. You're being fake, man. And that's something that I try to practice with my family, my friends, my loved ones, man, is being vulnerable. Getting away from the bro code, man, and not having this bravado of masculinity, like I'm strong and I can handle all things by myself. It's not that.
That's actually a real topic, because I was talking to the homie about that the other day. It's just like I sometimes I get frustrated because I feel like, and not just me in general, but I see it around too. It's like I feel like we need to level up our conversations.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? There's time for the bullshit and the funny shit and the silly shit, but like you said, that term emotional recovery, that's kind of taboo. Nobody talks about it, right? Yeah. But it's only to make us stronger, right? And if they can see you and kind of the success you've been able to gain and kind of how you're moving now, they should know that shit works. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's important.
The conversations get better.
Yeah.
When you're talking to people that are like-minded.
Yeah.
The vibration is crazier.
Yeah.
The energy that you attract, because people know what to expect from you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Is amazing. And so like, don't be afraid, man. Don't be afraid to step out on that limb and be you. Yeah. And own that.
Live in your truth.
Because you're gonna find some amazing, incredible people that are just like that, or on the verge of getting to that place where they want to start doing those things. Yeah. Man. So
I definitely agree with that, man. Yeah. I think it's like taking a responsibility on ourselves as individuals to uplift each other in a sense. You know, like sometimes that the homie's probably waiting for you to be vulnerable first, just so he can be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like sometimes you got to be the bigger person and kind of start that wave.
Yeah, I think I feel that's what it starts. It starts like an authentic conversation. Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's like those are like the best conversations to have. When it's like when you know it's real, I don't have to question. Like if we're having a real conversation, I don't have to question you. You nothing like saying whatever.
That's real.
Maybe he's not being real. Maybe you don't ever got to think about that. So.
Yeah. No, and I'm
your friends should have your best interest.
True.
whatever that means to everybody in this room, we know. We know what's right and what's wrong. We've been programmed from birth to know what's right and what's wrong, man.
Yeah.
And so if your friends are telling you, nah, man, you're right for some bullshit that you know you shouldn't have done, they're not your friends, man. The friend that's gonna be like, you know what, that was wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see you make that mistake again. That's somebody you gonna cherish. You have to cherish.
Yeah.
Because
that's
that's
what I'm
harder to
talking
find.
Yeah.
That's harder to find somebody that isn't a yes man.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
And so,
Yeah.
man, step out on that line for sure.
Man, that's dope. That's dope. I'm glad we touched on that.
Yeah. Sorry, it just came to me.
Nah,
Sorry.
man.
that was
nah,
a perfect
man.
topic,
Talk
bro.
your
You
shit,
know, we
man.
had to.
Yeah, man. Let it flow.
Yeah.
Now, I do. You talked about a lot of your clients do play in the NFL,
Yeah.
right? I always want to get your thoughts on kind of the current state of the NFL. Obviously, things have been rather shaky.
Yeah.
I'd say, for lack of better terms. But is that something you talk about with your clients, or is that something they bring up during training sessions, as far as like how they feel about, say, the Kaepernick situation and how the NFL handled that, and how is domino affected to now? There's just such tension now in the NFL. You know what I mean? Is that something your athletes open up to you about?
Yeah. I think they're real topics, man.
Yeah.
And when you look at the color or the pigmentation of an NFL athlete, 9 out of 10 times is they're African American. So those topics, they hit home.
Yeah.
And when you misconstrue what the agenda was of the NIL, and we've taken it to this whole new climate, guys talk, man. And when you see innocent babies being taken away from their mothers and fathers, man, it's a real thing, man, because a lot of these guys have kids.
Yeah, that's real.
And
Exactly.
it's great, that you're an NFL athlete, but my brother that lives in Pittsburgh isn't an NFL athlete. He actually works for USPS. And if he gets pulled over, the things that go through his mind is this gonna go smooth, or am I gonna be worried for my life? And so, like, yeah, man, those topics are real, and guys express their feelings, and I think for the most part, man, I think guys are responding to it, and I think there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of just as a society, man. It's not like just one specific person or people, man. I think as a collective group of people, man, we just need to love more, man, and be sensitive to, like, these real issues, man, because you can't turn the other cheek and act like these things aren't happening. They're real things, man. So man, we talk about it, and we talk about it a lot in private. And
that's good. No, that's good.
So.
No, and I always want to, because a lot of times we only see what we see on TV in regards to professional sports. So I just brought it up to kind of get the behind the scenes. What are they really going through? And
what are your thoughts? What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, to be honest, I don't. I was just telling the homie.
Do you watch the NFL?
It wasn't a conscious decision to not watch the NFL for me.
Yeah.
But I don't find myself watching it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because of all the shit that's been happening, or for me, honestly, it's just not as appealing to me anymore as it used to be.
Yeah.
And then that stuff didn't really help. So I mean, I support the brothers on the field, and that's the hardest part about it, because you want to support them. But the game is just, I don't know. I love football. Basketball is my go-to, so I'm kind of looking forward to the NBA season, to be honest. But
I just think it's just messed up how that whole like the Kaepernick situation, this whole message got twisted.
Yeah.
And it's like I still can't believe how it got twisted, and it's like it's getting pushed to that message that they twisted it to, when like everybody pretty much knows it's like turned into something new, like it's not the same thing. So I'm just like, and then the way he's just getting, he's getting played by all these teams and everything like that. I just can't believe it's happening like on a huge platform like that, And so
and another thing you brought up, so like I like to use, again, the more than an athlete. I like that phrase, because part of my frustration with the NFL is that, these athletes, again, they're coming up and this is all they know. These owners know that this is all they know. So in a sense, they're pigeonholed. So I can understand sometimes when an athlete doesn't jump out the window and wants to, demonstrate, because at the end of the day, that owner is looking at you like you're expendable. Your family will not eat if you do that, right? And it's a tough position to be in. So I do understand it from that standpoint. And so that's why I do commend Kaepernick for what he did, right? And I think, again, I was talking to the homie, this is actually the first time we've seen something like this in the NFL, a demonstration like this. The NBA has been very progressive for years, you got to go back to Bill Russell and Kareem and all them. So I think Kaepernick's kind of starting something that's long overdue in the NFL. Yeah. So I'm happy to see it, but at the same time, it sucks to see the way it's being handled from those that are in control. So,
but I think it's okay. I think that it's okay that it's spiraling into this, because I think, one of two things can come from that, right? You don't speak your mind, and you allow these things to happen, or you force the uncomfortable discussion or topic, and now you get to really get an understanding for how others feel about the situation, man. And dialogue is key, and I think more and more the conversation will continue to expand. And I think people, man, because I have a lot of faith in people, man. I think the conversation will land at a place where it's on common grounds, and I think a lot of love will come from that. You know, but again, man, it's like anything in life, man. It's like you're inspired, and then you go through the mud, and then you're successful. Right? And I feel that's what I feel like Kaepernick's timeline currently looks like. Is he was inspired, he forced this difficult topic, and that's the mud. And I think the things that Nike is doing and other athletes are doing, standing by him, and I think when it's all said and done, man, he's going to be held as somebody, a catalyst in a topic that myself and everybody else in this room need a spokesperson for, because it's real, man. So.
And I agree with that, bro.
I'm glad it got started.
He's like, he just showed us he's more than an athlete, because he could have just folded early and like while he was going through the mud and kind of like all right, and just disappeared, but he stuck through it, and now he's like literally telling us like I'm more than an athlete, like I'm starting this, and he's swaying these big companies, like you said, Nike, to kind of like, kind of see it from his point of view. So
it's like Muhammad Ali, man. It's like
it's real. He was modern day.
He was put in jail for 4 years. At the peak of his career, and still came out a champion. And you fast forward, man. Biggest funeral. It was a celebration. White, black, Hispanic, Asian.
That's someone you look up to. I would assume.
Man, I got a ginormous portrait of him.
I saw that. I saw that in the gym. So I was like, he must really like this.
Muhammad Ali is somebody that I strive to, outside of my dad, is somebody that I strive to be every single day, and it's honest and true to myself, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job at that. So
man, definitely, man, definitely
for real,
living in your truth, man, and inspiring people, and that's something I hope people can pull from this episode, is just understanding that, man, it's not overnight. You know what I mean? It's not overnight, and we got our phrase. We say, you got to set your pace and don't react to the race, right? And that's something that I think speaks truly to what you're doing and to what others want to do. So now I want to talk about kind of what's on the horizon for Athletic Forum and for Robel and for the brand. What are some things you got coming down the pipeline that people should tap into?
For one, Cliff Averill and I just this past off season kicked off our first annual pass rushing academy, which was extremely successful for us. So we had a lot of linebackers and DNs that played specifically for the Seahawks down at the facility for about a month and some change. And it's 5 days a week, and we were able to collaborate, and it was successful. And I'm seeing guys like Frank Clark ball out, man, that I've got personal relationships with. And, and Quentin Jefferson, and just to see these guys go out there and just ball has been for the past 3 games has been a very fulfilling thing for me, man. So the Pass Rushing Academy is something we're definitely going to continue to expand on, and we're going to do that. I'm probably going to kick off our first annual combine training here in February, March after the Super Bowl, and we'll start getting guys in there, and I'll have a bunch of specialists like Cliff Averill in the building, Jenny.
That's dope.
Jenny Green and Sean Crawford and Olympians like that are specialize in certain things, man. And so we want to be able to get these guys in and prepare them for draft day and make sure that they're fast and they're healthy. And so that's definitely something that's on the horizon for us as well. Yoga is huge in our gym now, man, and that's a SKU that we've added. And you know, we're gonna continue to expand on that. Baseball, we got batting cages in there.
I saw that in there. Yeah,
baseball is, you know, there's a lot of SKUs, man. So baseball is something that, you know, we want to get involved with teams and do that. And then the last thing for me, man, personally, is getting my own 7-on-7 team kicked off. You know, because I see a lot of guys in Bellevue that are doing some amazing things. Federal Way, Tacoma, and then further south, but that whole metro area is neglected, man. And I want to give back, and I feel like the kids that come in there for football will get football, but they'll also walk away with some life altering experiences, man, that they're going to be able to put in the bank and cash, and it'll yield a dividend at some point in their lives, you know. So that, and then, you know, there's a lot, man. I want to go back up to the Eritrean community over on Massachusetts, you know, Rainier in Massachusetts, and I want to start a foundation for the youth over there as well, and give the kids an outlet. You know, there's a lot of YMCA's, but there isn't a lot of kids that look like me come from where I come from, that have that access. So I want to be able to make it easier for them, because I do understand the circumstances. You know, and be able to provide that and bring my dad into the fold as well, so that he can educate the parents on what education looks like without having to get so far away from what Njada and Zephyr and you know, Dulot and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you can still do that, but, you know, here is what your not modified, but your moderation chart should look like. You know, and maybe not an entire tray of Njada, but like, you know, a little portion with some salad, you know, and not a Coca-Cola, maybe some water. If you're into the carbonation, maybe some sparkling water. You know, but those are things that you know, like, that I want to make sure that I execute on, man. You know, you got to strike when the iron's hot, you know.
No, definitely, man. It's all relative too.
Yeah,
you know?
Man. And then we're going to host our first annual event outside of Athletic Forum on October 27th. Okay. And it's called The Sweat. It's a summit, wellness, education, and training.
Okay. And when is that?
October 27th.
October 27th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an 8 to 5 p.m. event. We'll have 2 amazing keynote speakers, 12 breakout speakers. Okay. And it's not going to be a traditional summit where everybody's got lanyards and you go from one guest speaker to the next.
Got a swag bag.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to get all that, but there's going to be an active portion of that as well, where you'll have some of the hottest fitness influencers in the Pacific Northwest that'll be there, that'll break you out for a room. Okay. On, you know, working out. You'll have, you know, mental wellness doctors. You'll have skincare doctors. You'll have professional athletes. You know, you'll have a panel discussion at lunch. And, you know, ultimately, man, the goal is to take our attendees and bring them face to face with the community's most influential people, man. Yeah. Give them an opportunity to ask questions to people them. that specialize in those things, right? So
no, that's important too, man.
Dope.
And we're gonna do that at the Collective Seattle. Okay. It's in downtown Seattle. It's like 400 Dexter.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's down the street from here, actually.
Yeah. It's beautiful, man. If you guys you've never been there, you should go and just check it out, man. It's a membership only kind of space, but the cool thing is it's open to anybody. You know, it's a beautiful ambiance, interior design. Man. They've got couches hanging from the ceiling. They got all types of just nice, like, just beautiful touch, man. It's like very New Yorkish. Okay. So if you guys ever get an opportunity, man, check it out. It might also be a cool thing. I'm gonna try to connect you guys, because maybe you guys do like an offsite, the UpNUp, you know, at the Collective or somewhere
live
else.
show.
Yes,
you know, sir. You heard it here first. Robel's gonna host our first live show. That's right. You know, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not I'll help put it together.
Nah, for sure, for sure. That's definitely in the pipeline though.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm excited, man, and man, life is good, brother. You know, and as long as people are, just maximizing, man, their potential. I think that's what the marathon is, man. It's figuring out how to maximize your potential and then executing on your potential. Not being afraid to ask questions and pick up a book, man.
Yeah.
Read, man. That's free knowledge.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to write things down on paper.
That's real.
I'm a firm believer in it. If you don't know the answers to something, man, can you help me? Right? Rob, can you help me?
I got you, man.
It's like help,
No,
man.
I feel you.
Help isn't a bad thing. It's not a crutch, man. It's not a crutch.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest minds, some of the most successful people ask for help.
Yeah.
And they're doing their thing, man. So
you can't do it on your own, man.
Yeah,
You cannot, man. I know you had a question you wanted to ask about athletic form.
Oh yeah, I mean, you kind of answered it. I was just gonna say, because you mentioned the hot yoga and all that stuff. So like, for somebody who's trying to get tapped in, like, what are some of the services that you provide?
Yeah, we have classes, man. Classes seem to be the thing that separates us from your typical or traditional gym, right? So, like you go to a 24-hour fitness, you walk in and everybody's a member and they just step on a treadmill and they're working out on their own. The cool thing at Athletic Form is we've got classes that span anywhere from 30 minutes all the way up to 60-minute long classes with instructors, and they're available 7 days a week, multiple times a day. We try to do our best to make sure that they're gapped out, early in the morning, like a lunch special, happy hour after work special, and then dinner time, right, like 7 p.m. And then yoga is the same thing, where we try to make it as accessible to people based upon their time and availability. So
there's something there for everybody.
Yeah, man,
for sure.
It's great. And again, like I said, man, it's great music, great energy, and even better people, man. So it's a community-driven space for sure.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Dope, bro.
Definitely.
That's dope.
So before you get out of here, man, I gotta ask this question. I ask it to every guest, and you're no different. Okay. So if you can, and then again, this is something that's gonna help kind of sum up what we've been talking about today, but also cast what's ahead. So if you can, my brother, what's one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up?
Wow. Passionate.
And you can explain.
Yeah, you can explain it too if you want.
Everything that I've done up to this point has come from every part of my insides. I've never done anything where my soul isn't intact. I've always followed my gut, man, and listened to it. And my passion has allowed me to make some of the most amazing decisions up to this point in my life. And I just like, when you look up the word passion, when you see people that are passionate, man, when you are passionate, it's like it's a high that
it's energy
that nobody can take, So I encourage people to be passionate, man, because I think if you're passionate about something, win, lose, or draw, man, nobody's gonna take that away from you, man. You'll be able to conquer the world, man, and do amazing things. So
I feel you.
That's real.
Be passionate.
Stay passionate.
Yeah.
Hashtag stay passionate out there. If you don't got it, find it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, man. So Robel, man, we definitely want to thank you, man, for coming.
Hold on,
to the
man.
show.
Hold on. I've been hearing a lot of this Laker talk, man, from everybody, man.
Oh, man, I got
there's still gonna be like a lower half. That's fine. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. But I think they're still gonna end up in the lower half of the playoff seed, man. I think like a 7,
man,
8.
just get us in the mix, man.
And then what?
Get us
and
in the
then
dance.
what?
Get us in the dance.
And
man.
then what?
I just like LeBron for the record.
Look,
That's fine.
I honestly, since you brought it up, I honestly believe that the Lakers, with the young squad and LeBron James, best player in the world, can make it to the Western Conference Finals. I believe we can.
You're crazy.
You
know what they need to do to avoid having to or getting to that, right? They'd have to be like a 1 through 3 or 4.
I don't know, man.
See,
I just,
because if they end up on the bottom half, they end up gonna have to play who? Houston
Warriors.
or the Warriors.
Yeah.
I'm not too sold on Houston. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's fine.
I'm not too sold.
They
on
won
Houston.
65 games last year.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm not sold on them.
I know.
I thought you was a Laker fan, man.
It doesn't matter. I'm a realist.
Okay, I feel it. No, I respect everybody's opinions.
Man.
But
I think they're going for 4th or 5th.
we'll have to reconvene
4th or 5th?
come April.
You know what teams are in the West, man?
I know, but you know.
Hey man, LeBron's that man. You know.
LeBron ain't never experienced the West, man.
You're right.
He ain't never experienced.
That's why I respect him though, because he went to the West finally.
That's fine.
You know.
Yeah, you know. I guess we're gonna have to reconvene in April. I don't know. Oh man, it's crazy, man. I was once the person that was going against the East, and now LeBron's on the West. It's kind of weird. You got to teach me how to defend him a little bit better, bro, because I got Kobe on lock. I can defend Kobe all day.
That caught you off guard.
I got to learn how to defend LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for that. That just taught me. I ain't on my shit. All right. But nah, man. In all seriousness, man. Thank you, man, for coming to the show. We appreciate you, man, and you know we support you 100%, and we wish you the best of luck, man, and blessings moving forward with athletic form and everything else you got going, man. Thank you, man. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys, man. Keep it coming, man. I think you guys are doing incredible stuff, man. So shout out to the UpNUp.
Yes, sir, man.
Thank you, bro.
Well, with that said, I think it's officially good to say Robel is a member of the UpNUp. Can we get a round of applause?